All right. Hello. Welcome to my Revenue with Lauren free masterclass. This is an Instagram one-on-one class, tips for growing your social media. So I feel like everybody who has a business or an idea for a business can benefit from this free training. This is going to be super short and sweet. And if you are one of my mentees, I hope that you watch this. I want you to see like how compact and efficient you can make a free mentorship or a free, oh my gosh, my brain, a free webinar. Because I think it's something that's really important and something that I teach. So, oh wait, you know what? Son of a bee, this is the wrong presentation. Here we go. Sorry about that. Okay. All right, so I have 10 years of selling on Instagram. And I say that because the transparency on Instagram is like super like not there, but I want to be really transparent with you. So in 2014, I started a fashion blog called Style Me Lauren. And then I went from that to 2018, creating a fitness and wellness account. Actually, I transitioned the fashion blogging account to a fitness and health account. I was partnered with an MLM company, and I did that for 5 years. So I did not, excuse me, I did not start a new account. So I grew that account to over 35,000 people. But when I saw MRR for the first time last July, 2023, which was somebody reselling a course saying that anybody could resell it, like as if it was their own, and like, create a brand around selling this course. I was super intrigued and I was like, you know what? I want to start a brand new page. So if you don't know anything about me or my page or my viewpoints, I spent a heck of a lot of time daily engaging with people. And I'd message people and comment on their things and try to be friends with them, like basically at their end result in hopes that they could buy from me. And I share that transparently with you because I want you to know that I've been there. So I have a whole class on attraction marketing, but I want you to know I started this page from scratch. And at first I did not share anything on my big page over here. I'm not active on that page anymore, but I want you to know that like there is a way that you can grow an incredible brand and make money without feeling like you're trying to get people. So that's my energy. That's my like woo-woo juju. So if this is something new, I know a lot of people teach about those older methods, like trying to find people and get people to come to your page, but it's a breath of fresh air, isn't it? So nice. So I started selling MRR July 19th, 2023. And at the like around Thanksgiving time is kind of when, or the beginning of December is when I decided that I was just going to shift and do my own products, no more MRR. And that was a really like interesting time for me. But what happened was I was hit up 20 times in 24 hours to buy a course that was called Simply Passive. And this course had just come out and people were like raving about it. And it was like the next hot thing. And I was hit up 20 times. And I was like, I don't even know these people. And they were like, basically cold messaging me saying, oh, you should buy it from me. I'm like, I don't like what? Like, what are you talking about? So at that point in time, I took a good cold hard look in the mirror and I said, what do I want to do here? What's my legacy here? What do I want my page to look like? What do I want my brand to feel like in 5 years from now? I was like, well, at the end of the day, it's really not going to be about reselling someone else's stuff. So that's when I decided to shift and sell my own products. Now, luckily last September, so during the time when I was selling MRR, I hosted this class for the first time. So this is not a new class for me to host, this free webinar. And I hosted it last September for an hour and I had like 22 people come on live. And I was like, oh my gosh, like people care, right? They're interested in this. So I said, shit, I think I literally had like 23 people on live. I was like, okay, even if like 3 of them purchased a class from me, that would be worth it, right? Like how cool. So add another stream of income. So I decided to do my very first Reels class and I call it still the class. I mean, I updated the class since, but it's called Captivate and Convert. And it's where I teach you how to captivate your audience through a reel and convert them to a loyal follower, right? And eventually a buyer. So that's kind of my story. I sold that class and I hosted it in October. I sold seats to that class. I can't remember. I sold like 5 originally. And then eventually I was like, okay, well, when I took MRR out of my store, all I had was my Reels class and my free masterclass. So I figured, what's the next thing? Stories. So I started building these classes. So that's how I've grown. I since added a group mentorship, which is incredible. And then a one-on-one mentorship, which brings me so much joy because I feel like I really get a hand in helping individual people on their and with their businesses. So that's the evolution of my brand so far. But I urge you to think about that if you are thinking about where you're going to be in the future. I would 100,000% urge you to think about the sustainability of your brand and what you want to become in this space. So Instagram strategy, I literally started this page from scratch. So this was when I was selling MRR. And I highlighted or I screenshotted this 37 accounts reached in 30 days. I screenshotted this and I had sent it to my best friend and I was like, oh my God, I broke 155 like views on my reel. So I just want to put this out there and to show you that you can start from scratch. You can be successful. You can make money. But you have to have this overabundance of like, I can do this attitude, which sometimes is hard when you're feeling like maybe business is in a lull. But that's how I started this business. Like, I am doing this. Like, no matter what, I'm doing this and I'm not quitting and I'm doing it the right way, which for me means attraction marketing. So I slowly started to grow, right? You can see I changed my bio a little bit. And then now I'm down here branded, new branding. And I want to talk a little bit about branding. So colors, emojis, text, and font. So, and if you've taken my Reels class, my Captivate and Convert class, you know that especially when I started my account, I was like, okay, brown and beige are my colors. I'm only using like a couple emojis, right? Like the white heart, the bronze heart, the gold glitter, right? So only a couple things because I want to be known. I want to like take a stance. So, excuse me. I still stand by that today, although I've been a little bit more like flexible lately. But what does your brand look like, right? And I know Kendall is on this call and if you need any help with Canva, she's like the Canva queen, but she is like a branding guru, right? Because when talking about your brand, like you want to be known for something. You want to be like remembered for something, right? Like you want people to think about, oh, I can't remember that, but I know she's all like green and pink, right? Or whatever it is, right? So wanted to share, think about your brand that way. And not the thing is, so many people are successful without doing this. So I'm not saying it's 100% necessary, but I think if you are building a long-lasting brand and you're thinking about what you want to become 5 years from now, I think it matters. So pick some emojis, pick a text and font for your reels. Like I've never used anything but this exact font here. And then, the same font, but without the block around it, but consistent fonts. Now I do consistent coloring. It's a lot different than this, these colors here. And, create this brand, right? Like you want to be known for something. So next we're going to talk a little bit about growth strategy. So for me, being that I only focus on attraction marketing, especially as a brand new account, I made the decision early on that I was only going to focus on attraction marketing, but that doesn't mean I wasn't going to do work. But because I wasn't going to reach out to people, I asked, well, shit, how am I going to reach people, right? Because it's like a new account, you got to grow, right, in order to be successful. What that meant for me was I was going to do 3 reels a day. Now, you might literally roll your eyes and cringe and leave right now, and that's fine. 3 reels a day is not for everybody. I have big goals, and I knew that I wanted to do this in order to get my face seen, okay? So from July 19th through literally Thanksgiving Day, 4 months, I did 3 reels a day, and I posted 1 live to 2 lives every single week, and I never missed a day. Now, was that a crap ton of work? Yes. Was it hard sometimes? Sure, right? But once you focus on getting content out there, it becomes so much easier because you are so in the rhythm of doing it. I had alarms set on my phone 3 times a day. I would take my content 3 times a day and I would just post. And what's interesting is that I only posted about one thing. Well, two things really. My MRR course, which was a LEPO course that I was promoting, and my freebie. So making content was easy because I kept it so simple. Okay. So think about that when you're thinking about your own products. Maybe you do a trial, right, for a couple months where you only focus on one thing, right? Become known for something. I think that's really important in this space. And that's why I care so much about micro niche. So really quick, growth strategy, reels. Again, I would say do as many as you can. The more you post, the more you're seen. If 3 reels a day stress you out, do as many as you can handle. And then your SEO line here at the top, this matters. This is searchable. So again, I would do 1 reel a day talking about my freebie, 1 reel a day and then 2 reels a day talking about my course. But not just the course. If you're selling something, stop being like, you get this in this module, you get this, and then in that module, you get XYZ. Nobody cares. If you want to start making sales and get people to follow you, your reels need to be about selling the vacation, not the flight. No one wants to be like, oh, okay, well, in order to get to the Bahamas, okay, well, shit, you're gonna wake up at 3 a.m. You're gonna have to figure out your kids' food because your in-laws are gonna watch them, and that's really stressful. And then you're gonna have to get there, and then, it's probably gonna be delayed, and then the air conditioning might break on the airplanes, and you could sit on the flight, tarmac for 2 hours. And then by the time you get there, you're like over it, and you're like, why did we even do this and spend $10,000 on a vacation, right? No one wants to hear that. What they want to hear is, oh my God, could you imagine waking up with your husband without the kids in the Bahamas and like having like even just a morning by yourselves? Like, I can't even imagine what that would feel like. It would feel so good, right? Like that energy instead of all the shit. And the shit is your course, right? So I know this is crazy, but stop selling your course. Stop telling people what they're going to get and start selling the end result, the feeling that they're going to have when they come to their Instagram page and it's all laid out beautifully and their content is so clear and their messaging is clear or whatever you're selling, right? Okay. I use as low trending audio as possible. It's not a strategy, but it helps me get seen. Talk to the camera and stories daily to build trust. This is something I still do every single day to this day. I think having your face and your voice, people are going to buy from you because they connect with you. And I'm not saying you have to share your whole story, but or your whole life, but even just sharing your voice and feeling like they know the way that you speak and everything like that, I think is really important. Engagement strategy, we touched on that already, that I don't spend time engaging. I just really focus on my own content and commenting back to people who comment on my stuff. And then again, I think everyone knows this now, but if you don't ask people to ask people to comment. Don't say, go to my link in bio and go click there and figure it out for yourself. You want people to comment on your reels so that you can actually create conversations in your comments, which boosts the algorithm. Okay. And I have, of course, this system called ManyChat set up. So then if someone comments, then I send them an automatic message in their email. So you might have seen this, for example, I was nursing my son last fall and this influencer posted a free people jacket. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. She was like, comment free people and I'll send you the link. I commented, she sent me the link instantaneously with this bot that is set up and I purchased it right there, right? So that's the beauty of it because you want to, I don't want to say get people, but you want to help people be able to buy from you in the moment that they're interested. Okay, your freebie, this is something that I see people overthink all the time and it's really it's really annoying to me, actually. Just post your freebie and get it out there, right? Your freebie should be number one, the first step in your business. So let's say you were creating an account for homesteaders for beginners, right? How to homestead. Your freebie should be the 5 best things that you can do today to start your mini homestead as a beginner, right? Or whatever. So it should be the first step, or it should be an overview of what is homesteading and what does it entail, right? So something like that. So stop overthinking it, make it in Canva, upload it to your Sandstorm, create a funnel system where you have emails on the back end sending it out, and I can help you with all of this if you need. And then talk about your freebie daily. I used to talk about my freebie every single day, as you know, in my reels, and I literally got 1,200 emails in 4 months. So it's a good reminder for myself as well. Okay, email marketing. If you don't know how to do your email marketing, you need to figure it out. It's 2024 and it's really important. I use AI. The course I bought originally showed me how. But I went back and I personalized everything in every email so it really sounded like me. So don't just copy and paste from AI because everybody knows it's not you. And again, this is called like a nurture sequence. So if you've heard that language, and that's that, and I can help you how to do that as well. Learn how to do that. So I get like a lot of the same questions repeated over and over, which I think is actually really good. So one of the questions I get all the time, what's the best tips for converting interested people into sales? And how do you like consistently show up? So number one, stop trying to convince people to buy your product. Your product is either a good fit for them or it's not. And this goes back to my attraction marketing. If someone's like, I'm interested in your product, and then they ghost you, stop following up with them. They literally don't want your shit. If they do, they would have bought it by now. Okay. So the follow up, like until people have to say, please stop, like that energy is so horrible, right? Like if people want it, they will buy it. Okay. Like we're all grown ups. It's 2024. And then, you know, like converting people is really truly about making sure that your offer is right for them. They're not going to buy if they don't feel like your offer can help them. They're going to buy from you if they're like, okay, well, I want to do this homesteading for beginners. I literally don't know how. I keep seeing things about chicken coops. Keep seeing things about whatever, sourdough bread. Like, okay, so if that is your audience, your avatar, your ideal client, write out the things that they struggle with and then make your content about that, right? So solve the problem for your audience, and then your product is the solution, right? So your product needs to be the solution to the problem. So for that example, it could be, okay, how to build a chicken coop 101 for beginners, right? So do you see how that's really solving creating a solution for your ideal client's problem? So you have to think about that every single time. If people aren't buying from you, you are trying to sell something that they don't want. It doesn't mean it's bad, but you might have to switch your offer. You might have to do market research and literally ask your audience, hey, like, what are you struggling with here? Because I offer this chicken coop thing. No one wants it. So like, are you interested in sourdough, or are you interested in like composting, or like, what is it? Right? So like ask your audience. In terms of showing up, I just have this unwavering confidence in my business because I know I'm going to be successful here. Like I have dreams of making $1 million a year. I want to do a podcast. I want to write a book. Like I have so many goals. But I like carry that energy with me every single day. So if you don't feel an overwhelming pull toward what you're doing, then you need to pivot. It's not worth it. Why would you show up and do something you don't love? Another question I get, I'm doing everything you're saying, but I'm not getting results. And my question to you is, are you though? Are you really doing everything I say, or are you not? If yes, then give it some time, right? If not, assess your Instagram, use lower trending audio, and what's your messaging? At the end of the day, it comes down to your messaging, how you're presenting your product and your messaging. Because if your messaging is off, then you're not going to make sales because you're not, again, connecting the dots for your customer. So they don't think that that you're going to actually help them or your product's going to help them. This is a good one. Should I start a new page? Should I keep my existing page? Should I talk to my, personal Facebook page? My thought process here is if you are doing this the right way. So for me, I really think about niching down, and I call that your micro niche. So like, I guess we can just keep going on the homesteading example, right? So if your niche is homesteading, micro niche would be homesteading for beginners, right? Like how to build a chicken coop, how to do all these things to start. If you are going to pick a micro niche that's so specific, you need to start a new page, right? Unless you are like willing to wait and transform an old page and only talk about that. But I do not want to see you posting pictures of your family, posting pictures of like the park, and then like your workout, and then also like your homesteading stuff, because it's not 2017 anymore. And those strategies worked back then. Now the pages that are successful, except for those content creators who have created those like lifestyle blogs back in the day, that's different. They grew an audience to 100,000 followers of people who cared about their life and their kids growing up. It's different now. If you were going to start from scratch, pick something. Pick something very specific, right? Your micro niche, and just answer those people's problems. Eventually, once you have an audience that understands where you're coming from, you can add in a couple other things. I'm not saying like workouts with, homesteading, but like you could add in other things, like broader things. And as your audience evolves with you over time, they might not all be beginners, right? So eventually you could add like an intermediate thing for that person who's homesteading. But you got to get specific, because that is really what's going to make it or break it for you here. So warm market, yeah, I didn't really talk to my warm market except for a couple girlfriends who I sold the course to like immediately. But I didn't post it on my Facebook. I didn't post it on my personal Instagram page for a long time. I eventually ended up doing it, but not for a while. Okay. So, and the warm market equals confidence. Yeah. So when I did purchase Lepo and I told my multi-level marketing team about it, I genuinely was like, this is freaking awesome. And you could, learn these skills and take them with you. I had people buy, like, I think I made $3,000 in my first couple weeks, and that was fire for me, because that made me realize that this actually could work. And if you've ever listened to anybody talk about their first sale, that first sale, it's like the feeling that you're like, okay, I could do this. Like, people want this. Like, I could totally do this. And then it like catapults the momentum. So I feel like I've been running with that since day one. So think about your product. And if there's somebody in your life that could actually use your product, tell them about it, right? Like, if, the homesteading for beginners, if you have a girlfriend who really wants to create a chicken coop, has no idea how, you create a guide, tell her, she'll buy it from you and support you, right? And the first sale means everything. It's really powerful. Okay, the other question again, I have an entire class on stories, because stories is really where I sell. So I don't try to sell on Reels. I try to sell in my stories every single day. I mean, I don't try to sell, I sell in my stories. And people say to me, I don't know what to share in my stories. I'm so awkward. The lighting in my house isn't good. Like, I'm always in my workout clothes. I'm schlepping kids. Like, I don't know what to share. Well, you can share examples of what people could do with your product, right? So I love giving real life examples. Like, if you were to say, okay, well, I have a homesteading account, and if you were interested in learning how to whatever, like make sourdough, you could give examples of the types of bread that they could make, right? Or you could give examples of blah, 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 right? It doesn't matter, but share examples of what people can do with what you have, right? Or with the offer that you have. And it's just really important, because once you start connecting the human and humanizing your offer, that's when people then connect the dots and they purchase from you, right? So again, like for me, when I was selling MRR, I talked all about how people could buy the course and they don't even have to resell it like me, but they could, use it for an existing business. And I would give examples like, is your husband a carpenter, right? Like, you could take the course for him, like on his behalf, for your family, and like learn about how to do an email list and get his clients on an email list, right? So things like that, where you're actually connecting the dots for people and saying, have you thought about how you could use my product, right? Like, not just like for your own benefit, but like think outside the box. Like, how could you share what your product could do for other people? Like, that's really important. And then talk about your freebie. Like, your freebie, right, is you spent time doing it. It's obviously important, and talk about it. Like, talk about your freebie on your stories. I think that's a great thing. Okay, so now we are getting to the end of the call. Again, I told you I was going to keep this 30 minutes, so we only have 4 minutes left. I am going to tell you, this is where at the end of my call, I'm going to sell to you. And I'm just straight up telling you right now. And I think this is really great. And I love being honest and transparent. And if you are one of my students and you are doing a masterclass, you got to sell. That's that part of why you ask people to come on free, right? You give them something and you offer them something in return. So my group mentorship is thebomb.com. It is amazing. I offer a 21-day Reels challenge, and 21 days of low trending audio. I can help you with your Reels one-on-one. You have the opportunity to ask me questions about them and work through your caption, your hook, etc. I can help you with your brand messaging, your wording, your freebie, new ideas, your future offers, like pie in the sky ideas. We can walk through those together. You also get, listen, you also get a one-on-one audit from me. If you join my group mentorship, I do an audit of your entire page. And if you know me, and if you don't, I'll tell you, I'm very brutally honest, which only helps you succeed in the end. I do a weekly hot seat coaching call every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific, where you can come on and ask me anything. And it's my favorite part of the week. Honestly, it just gives me so much energy. And you also get access to all of my classes. So it's kind of nuts. Like, you get a shit ton of value here. I have a monthly guest speaker. So far I've had Hannah from the Digital Mama in Spain. I had Anais from Soft Girl Income. And actually, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this today is because if you join my group mentorship before Friday, in 2 days, I have the Blueprint Behaviorist coming on to teach my group mentees the psychology behind selling. So cool, right? So I reach out to these ladies and I ask them to come in to my group and train my mentees, because it's so important that we're always learning and evolving. And I mean, like, hello, like, how cool to have a literal psychologist come on and to teach us about selling. So the monthly guest speaker is a really huge perk. And then also we're in a private channel, so we can like bounce ideas back off of each other, and you can like help people, etc. It's really fun. Okay, so we have a few minutes for questions. And if there are no questions, that's totally fine, but would love to answer anything if I can. I'm gonna go ahead and stop my share. This is so great. I just think there's something so special about doing something for free where you're giving your time and then sharing how you can help people. So again, if you are one of my mentees, I'm telling you, listen to this, and as soon as this is done, go set the date, because the energy changes, things shift when you're like, okay, I'm going to level up and do this. My first free masterclass gave me the confidence to do my first paid offer class, right? Like, you can do this. It's so fun and it's so rewarding. And yeah, it might be a little bit intimidating at first. Like, the first time I did it, yes, I had butterflies, you know? Oh, Kindle, question. For me, I would like to know if you have recommendations for someone trying to show up on here and get out of their shell. I'm continuing to put my face out there, but is there anything you do to feel more confident? Oh my gosh, that is such a great question. And I feel like that you are so not alone in that, Kindle. Like, so many people feel the same way. What I would say is, when do you feel the most confident? Is it in your car? Is it at home? What are you wearing? Do you have a Starbucks iced latte with you? Like, seriously, like, what is it? And it's all rhetorical. But like, where and when do you feel your best? Right? Because how can you get yourself in that situation more so that you can show up? And you could do reels, right? Or create, you video reels, or even to show up on your stories daily, right? So also, I want you to think about this too. I'm never the person to stay in my sweats and like sit on the couch and lounge on my couch. Like, you will never see me show up on my stories, in my husband's sweatshirt in bed. That's not me, right? So like, I'm not going to do that, right? And like, even if I was in my husband's sweatshirt in bed watching a show at night, I'm not going to show that because it's not part of my brand, right? However, I know so many people on Instagram that are selling, digital products, who are always like, I'm in bed and it's the best thing ever. It's 2 p.m. and like, I'm wearing this like cozy sweatshirt and I haven't showered today. But like, that's also who you attract, right? Which is great. Like, if that's your personality and that makes you happy, then like, you're going to attract more of those people, right? I literally get ready for the day every single day without fail. Like, I cannot leave the house unless I am ready for the day. And that's me. And like, but that makes me feel good, right? So figure out what makes you feel good and then do that, right? But also own it. I own that I do my hair and makeup every day. I own it, right? Own that you love to be in your sweatpants and in bed, because that's going to attract your people. I'm not saying, Kendall, that's you, but I'm saying, I'm saying, like, whatever you want to own in your confidence, own it, because the more true you could be to yourself, the better. Like, absolutely. Like, even if I'm at home, this is like TMI, But even if I'm at home and my husband's like, oh, you want to go shower like before dinner or whatever, like not that I really do, but this has happened multiple times. I will not take my makeup off in the shower, even though we're home for the night. And even though we haven't had dinner yet, but we're not leaving the house, like I will wait and like take my makeup off right before bed. Like that is how much I like to be, and that how it changes my mood. Like I feel so much better like when I feel confident, and this is what makes me feel confident. So like that might be extreme where you might feel like that's ridiculous, but that's me and I'm owning it. So whatever makes you, you own it. And I hope that helps. Okay, I think we are over time. I hope this was helpful. You're so welcome, Kindle. Thanks for being on live. And I will send this recording out. And again, oh my God, shit, I forgot to tell you. I have a code for you. I have a 50% off code for my group mentorship. If you use the code webinar to buy my group mentorship in the next 24 hours, I will give you 50% off for the month. So it's just a 30-day period. I mean, it renews, but you will be locked in at that price. So wanted to share that, and I'll put that in the email I send out too. Okay, talk to you guys later. Bye.